Hi friends, Mike McGee here. Welcome back to Story Den, and thanks for listening. Story Den is all about fun stories, real adventures, and big ideas made just right for kids and the grown-ups listening along. If you like what you hear, please share us with someone you know. It really helps. Today, Bailey and her friends are telling the story about two brothers who had a big idea, and that idea changed the world forever. It's a story about teamwork, problem solving, and not giving up. So take a deep breath, look up, and let's see what happens when we follow our dreams all the way into the sky.
Hello, friends! Welcome back to another Story Den adventure with me, Bear Bailey. Today, I have an incredible story about two brothers who made an invention no one ever dreamed possible.
Harumph!
Here now, Benny.
Benjamin?
Why are you being such an old fuddy-duddy, souring in your own stew?
My dearest Rusty, I am one of the greatest inventors in history. What could these two trite brothers,
Wright brothers,
however they want to be recognized, what could they have possibly invented that would match any of my inventions?
Well, they created the first human-powered airplane.
An air what?
An airplane. It allows people to fly in the sky like birds.
Folks can take to the skies like buzzards. Now that's a whole heap of hogwash, I tell you.
Rusty, maybe back in 1849, flying airships could only be possible in your imagination. But with today's technology, we have tens of thousands of airplanes transporting people around the world every day. You can hop on an airplane in New York City and 8 hours later be laying on a beach in Hawaii.
Well, I'll be hornswoggled. Seems I've been barking up the wrong tree. Reckon I'd like to hop a ride on one of them flying air contraptions and soak up some rays on the sandy shores of Waikiki.
Good heavens, Bailey, I stand corrected. Verily that doth merit a reward for its invention. Thou shalt take a place behind as I lend mine ear to the tale thou art about to unfold.
For pity's sake, Benny, how about you talk plain for once so y'alls can get the gist of your gab?
Good sir, if ignorance were gold, you'd be the wealthiest man in the West.
Did you say gold? If there's gold in the mix, count me in, partner. Yippee-ki-yay!
Fellas, it's time we get on with this story. Now picture this. It's the late 1800s, and in those times, most people traveled long distances either by horse-pulled carriages, steamboats, or trains. Automobiles were slowly popping up across the nation. That brings us to Wilbur and Orville Wright, two curious brothers from Dayton, Ohio, who loved to tinker and fix things. One day, their dad brought home an unusual-looking toy. It was a rubber band-powered helicopter. Imagine the enjoyment they received when they wound up the helicopter for the first time and watched it fly across the room straight up to the ceiling. That little helicopter sparked the imagination of both brothers, and they knew they wanted to make something even bigger that had the power to soar over mountains and treetops. But here's the thing. It wasn't easy, and they couldn't just sit around waiting for a magic answer to appear before their eyes. Oh no, these brothers were determined. They worked hard, and for many years they experimented with different ideas, studying everything they could about flight. The brothers even created a bicycle business and used the profits to help fund their flying experiments. Now I bet you're wondering, Bailey, how did they do it?
How? We're all ears, Bobby.
Bailey.
Oh dear.
Well, let me tell you, friends, it wasn't by accident. They spent years figuring out how things fly by observing birds, studying gliders, and even building their own wind tunnel to test their ideas. They realized that the key to controlled flight was balance, just like how we balance on a bicycle. Wilbur and Orville created a way to twist the wings of their plane like how birds adjust their feathers. This was called wing warping, and it helped them steer and balance the aircraft in the sky. Finally, on December 17, 1903, after years of hard work, they were ready to test the first manned, heavier-than-air machine that would be controlled by a pilot. The brothers tried their new design at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, a location with steady winds that were perfect for flying. On that cold December day, Orville climbed into the plane appropriately named the Wright Flyer. His hands were trembling from the adrenaline rush of nerves and excitement. He started the engine. The plane came to life. It was time to fly. Orville pressed the throttle forward, and as the engine revved up, the plane began to move. It quickly picked up speed, and as the plane came to the edge of the hill, Orville pulled back on the stick, and up it went! Orville was airborne! Their dreams finally realized. The plane flew in the air for a record-setting 12 seconds!
12 seconds? By golly, it takes me longer to run from the cabin to the outhouse.
Not long, right? But it was enough to prove that a human could truly fly with the help of a machine. They had done it! Those 12 seconds opened up a whole new world of opportunities for the Wright brothers. Wilbur and Orville had taken that first leap toward progress, and they didn't stop there. They kept perfecting their airplane. They wanted to make sure it could fly longer, higher, and more smoothly in the air. Within 2 years, they increased their airtime from 12 seconds to over 30 minutes in the air. But the road wasn't all smooth sailing. The brothers faced many challenges. People didn't always believe in their invention, mostly because they weren't creative and forward-thinking enough to see their vision. But Wilbur and Orville weren't discouraged. They knew they had done something incredible, and they were determined to show the world their accomplishment. And guess what?
What?
They did! Wilbur traveled to Europe, where he conducted public flight demonstrations, astonishing audiences everywhere they traveled. He flew before royalty, military officials, and scientists, proving that their aircraft was more advanced than anything Europe had seen. Meanwhile, Orville stayed home and gave flight demonstrations to the U.S. Army Corps, who eventually funded a contract to build the first military airplanes. Can you imagine that? 2 brothers, just regular people like you and me, changing the world simply because they believed in themselves and never gave up. Wilbur and Orville proved that when you follow your dreams and work hard, even the impossible can become real. Don't forget, you can do the same with your dreams, no matter how big they seem.
I thank thee, Bailey, for regaling us with such an uplifting tale. It hath stirred my spirit and set my mind alight with purpose. Verily, I shall retire to my workshop forthwith, for there are inventions aplenty that have long danced about in my thoughts, awaiting careful toil and refinement.
I'm with the old coot on this one. Can't wait to hitch a ride on one of them Sky Broncos for the first time. Bet it's a real rip-snorting adventure. Yee-haw!
Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the story of the Wright brothers and how they overcame obstacles to reach their dreams. Now I need to go so I can get started on my next Story Den adventure. Eureka!
The voice talents in Story Den include Debbie Cleveland, Sanford Jackson, and Brian Philbin. This episode of Story Den was written and produced by Mike McGee, with editing by the ever-patient Mike Harthen. If you enjoyed hanging out in the den today, make sure you subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And check out our Patreon at patreon.com/BearBailey. Members get access to worksheets, puzzles, parent guides, and can offer suggestions for future shows. You can even earn a shout out on a future episode. Thanks for listening, and remember, the door's always open in the Story Den.